All right, welcome everyone. I'm here for one of my stories. This is Lindsay Dunn, and I'm very excited today to be interviewing Han Soto, who has done a lot of different things in the movie world. He's done stunt work, he has done acting, he has done producing, and I get to chat with him today. So, Han, thank you for joining me today in this Zoom interview.
Thanks for having me.
Now, I have to be honest, okay? So I've looked at your demo reel and all the stuff you've done, and it looks like you have just played the gamut of roles. You've played a surgeon, you've played a kind of wacky conspiracy theorist, you've played an EPA guy, and you have worked alongside such big names as Robert De Niro, Jack Black, Katie Holmes, Patrick Wilson, and Hugh Jackman. But honestly, I am here today to talk about Cobra Kai because I am a huge fan. You can see my Miyagi-Do t-shirt. But before we get into Cobra Kai, I want to talk a little bit about how you got into acting because your background is fascinating to me. You started your professional life as a businessman in building trades and website design. So how did you transition from doing that to working in the film industry?
It wasn't, it wasn't really a transition, in my opinion. I think it was just more like an abrupt, okay, this is because I was talking about it for so many years, but I was very comfortable making money in my job, my real job. And, one day I just decided, okay, what am I going to need to, how much am I going to need to live on? And for how long can that sustain me? And, once I ran the numbers and gave myself kind of that benchmark, I just decided to go for it and, sold my company, paid off a bunch of bills and kept enough for myself to not overspend every month, just to keep the bills going. But don't live like lavishly, right? Because you lose sight of kind of the path if you do just spend, frivolously. So I had a whole plan and a couple of events here and there just kind of really kickstarted me into the acting side of it. I just spoke about it on another interview. I was doing extra work for a Madden commercial, and I got bumped to a principal next to Drew Brees. So it was for a PlayStation commercial for the New Orleans Saints, and when the check started rolling in, I was like, wow, I can do this for a living. So it was nice. It was pretty refreshing to see that. And once again, I did the math. It's like, okay, I do this many projects, this much, all the residuals will kind of carry me over if I have a bad year, But thankfully, I've just been very blessed, have a great team behind me and around me. And, we've just been grinding since day one, 10 years ago.
So Cobra Kai is one of the most popular series.
Crazy.
And it's attracting fans of the original series with the nostalgia, but it's also bringing in a whole slew of new fans and people that are interested in it. So what is your baggage when it comes to the Karate Kid, or some people call it the Miyagi-verse? Did you grow up with the movies, or what is your background and your relationship with Cobra Kai and Karate Kid going back?
I grew up getting bullied all through middle school and having Karate Kid kind of at the map of how to get out of it, though I didn't really like put on a Halloween outfit with a shower curtain or anything. I didn't do any of that, but it actually, I felt like it gave me hope, show that you do have an option to fight back against the bullies, or however you can. But like I loved it. I mean, my playlist consists of Peter Cetera songs. It's all love ballads from the 80s. Mm-hmm. and some rock, some rock songs from the original Karate Kid. So I was in love with that stuff. I like Karate Kid, Goonies, Gremlins. I mean, I grew up with that stuff,
How did you get cast in the role for Karate Kid? That must have been pretty exciting for you as a OG fan then.
Yeah. I mean, for Cobra Kai, it's I got the audition. I got a couple of auditions. I'm glad I didn't get the first one. Somebody else booked that role, but it was obviously not as significant as this one. And I think everything happens for a reason. I mean, to be the character that the whole franchise is essentially based on. Like, you know, somebody reminded me, like, you know, you created Cobra Kai. Like, you are the reason why it's called Cobra Kai. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but when they watch it, they'll understand what that means. I got it through my agent, and I auditioned. I put myself on tape. I believe I was filming another project at the time, but I put myself on tape, and they booked me off the tape. It was great. I saw the breakdown, and I knew, you know, it said evil, cunning villain, and I was like, yes. Like, I love playing bad guys so much. Like, it's just, you know, you don't get to play it, and it is a different feeling when, you know, you have to step into, you know. But I create these characters like on my spare time when I'm building, writing. You know, each character has a certain thing that they like. They're from a certain era, and one day I may be able to use that character, and I can just jump right into it. This one I was working on for actually like 3 years before I actually dusted off, you know, was able to dust him off and bring him to life. But he had a lot of the characteristics of this character in Cobra Kai. He smoked cigarettes, you know, he played certain card games, and he was a Vietnam general, you know, who enjoyed capturing American soldiers. So right when I got the audition, I knew exactly what I was going to do. Yeah.
That's fascinating. So you actually had this character planned out even before you knew the role existed. You were just working on it for the right moment and seized it.
Yep. I used his character in another Villainous one that I did. It was the true story about four Vietnamese teenagers that broke into a good guy store in San Francisco. And it was one of the largest hostage takedown in history. And it was on a show called In an Instant. Now, this guy wasn't the main, he wasn't like a general, but I pretty much isolated that characteristic out. And it was him. It was the same guy, but he liked other things, and he was in America. So it was fun to be able to mask it with something else and take him back to another era and throw him into the Karate Kid franchise.
What was it like on the set doing the shooting? How many days were you there on the set to get your role done and the work you needed to do for your scenes?
Yeah, I showed up, I was there for about a week and a half, and it was apparently one of the most elaborate sets that they did that season, because they had to actually build it out. And a lot of the guys who were not in the scene wanted to come and check it out, because they flew an actual Chinook into the space, and you could hear the propellers, just like a deep bass, like whirling bass. And it was nice. Like, it felt like you were in Vietnam.
Yeah, it certainly was well done, because I didn't realize, I was listening to an earlier interview you did, and I guess that was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And not in Vietnam.
But no, it's movie magic, you know.
Yeah.
I think the rain the evening before really added like a touch of sinister, you know, to the set was actually a character in its own, I felt. And it was cold, and it was, you know, rainy before and muddy. It was perfect. It was a perfect setup for that fight, you know. Almost slipped and gave a spoiler. Even if I do talk about it, I don't think it'll spoil it, but I try to kind of circumvent that if I can, because it is a nice little surprise when you see it, you know. Yeah. Were you surprised?
About what?
just what role my character played, and the fact that you got to take a peek into that past.
Well, it was. I will say I wasn't expecting them to dive into Kreese's past at all.
Yeah.
Even though now that they've done it, I am glad, and it's interesting because the whole basis of the show is that Johnny, you're sort of getting an inside view into Johnny, and kind of getting to revisit his character. Only he is he's one of the heroes of the show.
Yeah.
So we're trying to like revision him. However, in this case, I'm not sure necessarily the point was the same to like build empathy. We're still going to consider Kreese a villain, but knowing his past and how things got started was certainly a way to kind of parallel that, but for a different purpose.
Yeah.
So
it's really crazy how when we grew up with it, well, when I grew up with it, I was against Johnny Lawrence.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, and it's the juxtaposition of like good and bad, and who we side with nowadays. And now the antagonist is not who it used to be, right? And that's a choice that we made as an audience. But I just think Kreese is so villainous that no matter what you do and show, there's not going to be any empathy for him.
Did you get much direction for your character, or was it improv? How did you get? Yeah, talk to me about that. How much direction did your character
I got to play around a lot, and that was the greatest part. One of the greatest parts about being on that set was the creators, didn't really give you a lot of direction. You just kind of, I think when they hired you, you're at that point where they trust you to do whatever. Obviously, I mean, don't go in there tearing up that character and making it something he's not, but I stayed within that broad stroke of what they wanted that character to feel like. And they just let me play. Like a lot of my lines were me making it up, and my choice to speak some broken English gave that little charm to that character as well. So no, I was not bound by the words on the script, or, I would do the lines and I would go to Scripty and go, hey, what I just said was this, and they'll put it in there for translation. So, and I even asked if I can curse in Vietnamese, because that was like something that they do, right? He said, yeah, just stay away from the heavy words. I just couldn't help it. There was a scene that got cut because I think I said a curse word, like a really bad one, but I was just in it. Like I didn't really, you have to unapologetically just do it. So that's the space that I was able to play in.
So how do you get motivated to be a villainous character? Somebody who basically yells and shoves people around on screen for a bunch. How do you get motivated to do something like that?
I do a lot of homework in that space, and I do a lot of I study that a lot, and so that I don't have to prepare myself for the character. So as soon as if I get something like that, I'm able to just take my notes and what I've been working on and just transpose it onto the script and the character, and just I'll snap right into it. I will do one apology before we start filming to Barrett. I apologized to him and said, look, I just want to know your threshold. Like, how far can I push you? And he said, just do whatever you got to do to make this good.
What is it like knowing you played a person that had a role in Kreese's origin story?
It's amazing. It's amazing. I've said this in another interview, and I got some people were cracking up, and I said, if I used any other animal, like a chipmunk, it would be called Chipmunk Kai.
You've played so many characters and worked alongside some iconic people in the industry. Do you have a favorite role that you've played, or a special story or something that you could share with us?
I have a moment where, just kind of a little backstory. When I was a kid, I used to pretend I was Wolverine. We get to pick which character you want to be, so I would always draw Wolverine or Gambit, right? And when I worked with Hugh Jackman on Logan, that was a great little moment when I opened the limo door and saw Sir Patrick Stewart there. I was like, wow. And that was a complete surprise. So you can see it in my face when you watch the scene. He's like, yeah, how's your
So you didn't know that Patrick Stewart was going to be in the scene?
I had one scene in Logan, and I was on set at 6 a.m. And by the time I wrapped at 8:30 a.m., I was trying to tell the PA that, I was like, dude, I'm wrapped. You guys are wasting money keeping me here on set. I'm going to get overtime and triple overtime. But like, I really care about the production, you know. But little did I know, James Mangold was writing that scene, that last scene, in the scene with Patrick Stewart. He was writing it in between filming and doing whatever he was doing, and he added that scene in towards the end of the day. So by the time I showed back on for my next screen, I was the last shot of the day, and I was about 19, 20 hours in on set already.
Mm-hmm.
All day, not knowing what was going on. So he gave me the sides. He said, all right, here's what's going on. And he said, you just go open that limo door and take Daphne out. And when I opened it, I saw Sir Patrick Stewart, and I was like, whoa. So you can see it. My character is like, whoa, that's awesome. We shot that in one take, by the way.
I want to go back and watch that scene now. I understand you also work as a producer.
Yeah.
So tell me about that, what it's like. I'm always fascinated by wondering what producers do on a day-to-day basis, and what it's like for you to kind of, you know, instead of being in the spotlight, you're working more on the background of the movie and being an advocate, I think. Tell me about being a producer.
Yeah, you know, it makes you appreciate being an actor, that's for sure. You know, you got to go get your own food and make sure everyone else is taken care of. But it's nice though. I'm really, I have a servant's attitude, so I really like, you know, serving people who I work with and making sure that everyone's comfortable. So in that aspect, it's very nice to be able to do that for people. And like we actually started. So I produced a movie with my producing partner, who is also my partner in a distribution company that we started called Kamikaze Dogfight. And so Andrew Vandenhouten is my producing partner, and we did a movie with Jeffrey Reddick, the creator of Final Destination. That was his directorial debut. It's called Don't Look Back. And I actually was on set as an actor first, and watching him navigate the set and doing everything that I just told you I love doing for people. I was like, all right, that's my kind of people right there. So we, in our conversation, we quickly just decided, you know, wow, I can hang out with this guy. So let's go in business together. And, you know, one thing led to another, and that's how we started that company. But I like producing. I like everything about like what happens after you make the film and taking it to the finish line. One of my favorite projects is A Tuba to Cuba, which is, we went back to Cuba in 2015 when the embargo was freshly lifted, and we shot a documentary with Preservation Hall Jazz Band. Kind of like uncovering the roots of New Orleans jazz. So I learned a lot. That was one of my first producing gigs. So, but that was the hardest one, because imagine having to do everything without technology, without phones, without printers. I don't know without printers, but just having that quick communication. Everything was done through calling cards, and there was no walkie-talkies. Like basically everything that made your job easy as a producer was stripped from us, and we had to shoot in a foreign country. So I like having to solve problems. I like that part about producing. And that's what I was telling you. I said, talk points are talk points. It's great, but let's just rattle and just have fun with it, you know? So that's kind of the same thing, right? I like just seeing where the conversation goes. So just seeing where the producing, you know, challenges, obstacles that we have to overcome together. So yeah.
What would be your dream role to play or dream movie to create? Do you have sort of a, you know, bucket list or dream that you would want to play on screen?
I would love to play a Will Hunting type character from Good Will Hunting, like one of those, you know, are like some chess prodigal, like genius. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. a character with a special gift or some kind of advanced skill set that sets them apart from everyone. I really like that, and I also want that character to have to battle like depression, because I think there's a layer of, you know, a nice little layer to like peel apart as you build that character. But no, I mean, I like, by the time it gets to me, it's an honor for me, because it says that, you know, the writer trusts me to bring this to life. So, but yeah, I mean, I like those characters, and I'm grateful for all the roles, really. But
is there anything you want to plug or let us know you have coming up before we end our call?
I mean, you know, I'm on all socials. I'm on Instagram at Han Soto, HANSOTO. Our distribution company is Kamikaze Dogfight. That's KAMIKAZE Dogfight. Yeah, and just keep watching Cobra Kai over and over and over.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next. Now that I have looked through your portfolio and see the variety, it's exciting. I'm excited to see what Kamikaze Dogfight comes out with. I understand it's specifically horror movies, correct? So that's what you would be looking to distribute if people had a project in mind.
Yep, and we have some non-horror stuff going through there as well. So some very elevated ones. We have a few projects that are out soon. Haymaker, you should keep an eye out on that one. Haymaker is a noteworthy one, yeah, and it's very good. I don't want to even ruin it by trying to give you a synopsis of the movie.
It was nice talking to you today, and thank you so much for your time.
Lindsay, thank you so much. Have a good night, okay?
Good night.
All right, bye-bye.